Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a new edition of the Daily Debate. In tonight's show, we're going to be focusing on the youth of Egypt, youth empowerment, and how much the government and Egypt is counting on and building on the power and determination and will of the Egyptian youth as a key for the new republic, as a key for the Sustainable Development Goals 2030. But before we start doing that, let's check out a couple of the stories making the news today. And we'll start off with President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi, who directed today to continue working on the approach of localizing strategic industries and encouraging the national industrial sectors. The President's remarks came during his meeting with Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli and the Ministers of Finance and Industry. The head of state instructed the speedy finalization of the advanced information system of the custom release within the framework of the state strategy to support industrial activities nationwide and overcome the most prominent obstacles it faces, as well as increasing export rates and maintain export markets. The meeting tackled efforts exerted to deal with current challenges facing the industry and export sectors. It also focused on proposed solutions submitted to address obstacles facing development efforts in the industry sector, as well as efforts to formulate consensus programs among the ministries of finance, trade and industry to ease the import and export procedures during the coming phase. And in another meeting, President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi followed up the executive position of working issues related to the Ministry of Planning and Economic Development. During the meeting, the head of state probed training programs and capacity building being carried out by the National Institute for Governance and Sustainable Development. The President gave his directives to enhance such programs to cover all governorates of the Republic with the aim of increasing experiences in dealing with current challenges facing governmental work, as well as supporting the institutional performances. He instructed to expand applying the awards for excellence to include more sectors and institutions due to its incentive effect, which encourages the promotion of performances as well as spreading the innovation culture. Presidential spokesman Bassam Radi said the meeting tackled the development of the economic indices at the world level amid repercussions of the Russian-Ukrainian war. The meeting also reviewed efforts exerted by the Ministry of Planning and Economic Development to modernize Egypt's Vision Strategy 2030 with the aim of coping with development and changes. It probed the efforts to promote governmental services through digital transformation, with President el-Sisi directing to enhance the movable services and vehicle system to offer more services to citizens. These were a couple of the stories making the news today, but now turning our attention to tonight's topic now. The government is backing and working on developing the youth's innovative capabilities. Let's check out this report and we'll be right back.
Egypt is keen on developing the youth's innovative capabilities across the state within the framework of empowering youth and localizing SDGs. During her meeting with representatives of government universities and students who take part in the Youth for Development initiative to benefit from students' researches, Planning Minister Hala Said said the government is keen to benefit from the youth's suggestions in the fields of social empowerment of women, environmentally friendly projects, supporting the health system, innovations to improve governance, combating corruption and public services. Youth for Development initiative launched by the Ministries of Planning and Higher Education and Scientific Research aim to create an atmosphere to encourage the youth to take part in issues of public affairs and raise their awareness of the Sustainable Development Goals within a framework of the axes tackled by the Egyptian Human Development Report. These axes are education, health, adequate housing, economic reforms, social protection, environmental sustainability and governance. President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi has launched the World Youth Forum, which gathers thousands of youth from different countries as well as intellectuals key state figures, high-profile officials, experts, artists, innovators, and international youth leaders. The forum aims to address youth problems, ideas, and aspirations for better futures through interacting and holding debates and sessions. The head of state stressed the need to realize the importance of dialogue and manage differences between peoples, adding that humanity cannot overcome its current crises and challenges to survive without sincere intentions to end conflicts and manage differences. The annual event is organized by Egypt and has been held since 2017, bringing the world's youth together to promote dialogue. The forum is a great opportunity for the youth to exchange expertise and create a better future. The minds of young people are full of innovative ideas. The Generation Z's perspective on the post-pandemic world and Egypt's Decent Life countryside-focused initiative were also targeted in the last session. The 700 Egyptian billion pound Decent Life initiative, which was officially inaugurated in July 2021, aims to improve standards of living, infrastructure and basic services, including healthcare, across the countryside.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and joining us here tonight in the studio to shed more light on the youth empowerment file, we're joined by Ms. Sarah Amin, the journalist, writer and founder of the Happy Africa Foundation. Ms. Amin, thank you very much for joining us. First off, now, talking about the youth empowerment, that's been the name of the game for the past few years, and really the government and Egypt has been emphasizing the importance of the youth being an integral part, be it in social life, economic life and political life as well. Before we start talking about how to develop or what do we want to see more of in terms of youth empowerment, can you shed more light on what's been achieved by the government so far?
The government achieved a lot. Let's highlight why it's important for us to empower the youth. We had a critical problem when we were in 2011 after the revolution. There was no leaders at all. They used to start the revolution. Then we wanted someone to lead, and there was no one on the stage to lead. This was because of the lack of education and passing the knowledge from a generation to a generation. I think President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi got the view, in an eagle-eye view, to understand that Egypt is not supposed to face this kind of problem again, ever again. So he started empowering us. You can take me as an example. The government stood up for me when I needed help. The government made it very easy for me to travel and to found my foundation. Although they didn't support it in the beginning, this is normal. Like, you have to prove yourself first, then people will support you. But when I proved myself, I got a lot of support from the government, especially from Mrs. Nabila Mokram, Mrs. Maya Morsi, who care about my projects, gave me the support. And even my project started in the hotel room where I was staying during the second episode or version of the World Youth Forum. I faced a lot of criticizing when people said, like, you're a revolutionary person. Why are you putting hand in hand with the government? And this is like, it's total misunderstanding of what is should be when you oppose or say that something wrong on, and when you see something right, you put hand in hand and start cooperating and working together with the government. So the government, some youth people or from that generation, from our generation, think the government is the enemy, although it's not. The government is who protecting us and supporting us these days. Anyone is having, whoever having an idea, it's easy to go to a ministry and go to, for example, the PLP, the World Youth Forum. I just applied. No one know me. I just online applied, like applied online, and that's it. So the care is important. It's too late, but it's never too late. It's just I'm glad that at least we started. We will still need a lot of projects to be done, and we need a lot of support because it's a heritage. Like it's a lot of wasted time. We need to recover, and we need to work faster than others to recover what we have missed.
Well, over the past few years, I mean, you spoke about your experience with your foundation, your work. Now, where do you see the strengths of the youth empowerment being achieved so far? Is it in terms of economic level with the entrepreneurships, the startups, the small and medium enterprises? Is it in terms of political level where the youth are taking part in different decision-making within different governmental institutions and ministries? Or is it about the social impact, trying to safeguard or develop more equal rights to both sexes, to children, to all of these things? And how do you see, or even the information communication technology, the digitalization, the new age, the social media, where do you see the youth being best utilized, and especially in Egypt? And I know you've traveled to quite a few places. Where do you see our sort of peak performance comes out?
I think passing the knowledge. When I was young, my father told me a story about the difference between human beings and monkeys. It's just a story to miss, but it's having something like moral inside it. He told me that monkeys didn't evaluate or get better because they didn't educate each other. They didn't pass the knowledge. But the human beings evaluated and got better because they passed the knowledge from a generation to a generation. So in my opinion, my favorite project that the government has done is the World Youth Forum and the PLP. Although I didn't join the PLP yet, but I have colleagues and friends. We are working together in other projects, and I can see the difference, as I knew them before they joined, and now I still know them. So I got a view, like, I know the difference. I know what happened. And another example, for example, my assistant is something like 19 or 20 years old, and I chose this gap between each other because I wanted to talk to the younger generation, the younger youth. We can talk, we can discuss, and at the end of the day, her point of view is totally different than my point of view. I think this is the same. My point of view is totally different than the point of view of the older generation. So when we pass, we will connect the circles. It will not be isolated islands. It's going to be connected islands. So we will achieve more when we put hand in hand and work together. But my favorite thing, my second favorite, is the gender equality. In Egypt, it was very rare to find a qualified minister, a qualified leader, female leader. Now we have plenty of them. Not just one. I don't want to mention any of them so that I don't forget others. But we have more than one. I'm not really into politics, so I cannot say about the politics, but digitalization, now most of the stuff we can do online. It will affect the traffic. It will affect saving time, so we can have more time learning other stuff. And that's it.
Yes. Well, you've mentioned the PLP, the Presidential Leadership Program. You've mentioned the World Youth Forum. And these are all initiatives and forums done by the Egyptian government. Started off with the National Youth Forum, then took it to the World Youth Forum. The first edition was in 2017. Also an African Youth Forum. Now, do you see a clear path for the youth? I mean, you started off by just applying online. Now, do you see a clear path or more like an easy path for the youth to sort of express their innovative ideas, their innovative projects? Do you see that, and is it still in line with the Sustainable Development Goals? Because sustainable development is the direction the country is taking, Africa is taking for 2063, and the whole world is taking, and it's affecting all aspects of our lives. How in line are we in terms of youth empowerment and achieving sustainable development goals?
If you mean by a path, a vision, or one way we're going all through, allow me to disagree with you, because let's say half of the Egyptian population is less than 30 years old, or 40 years old as per the statistics. So it's plenty of people. It's a big amount of people with different cares, with different point of views. So some people care about the startup, some people care about writing and reading, some people care about health, education. You have plenty of choices. But what connects them is passing the knowledge again. And maybe it's not as easy as it should be, but as long as you're taking baby steps, like I always prefer saying, take an elephant baby step rather than just running the way and failing at the end. So it's baby steps, but it's making a difference. It's making a big difference.
Yes.
Maybe in the startups, now you can see at least half of my friends are having their own startups, although there's a little bit of harsh time they face when it comes to authorizing, getting the money for the startup, but they're having good idea. And they start from home. Apple started, like the mobiles and stuff, started in a garage.
Yes.
I want to transfer this Western point of views and way of doing stuff into Egypt. This is, I think, this is what the President Al-Fattah al-Sisi is trying to do, which is very respected.
Yes. Well, ladies and gentlemen, Egypt is actually allocating about 1.1 billion Egyptian pounds to meet the increasing demand of digital skills, and the youth are really at the wheel of such a movement. Let's check out this report and we'll be right back.
The Cabinet Information and Decision Support Center, the IDSC, said that the government has allocated more than 1.1 billion Egyptian pounds to meet the increasing demand on learning digital skills. In an infographic published under the title of Digital Education Eyed by Egyptians, the Cabinet reviewed efforts exerted to upgrade the youth skills to comply with the labor market needs, especially in light of the recent state policy to introduce digitization to all services. Cabinet said the Ministry of Communication and Information Technology has trained more than 180,000 youth, both males and females, as part of an initiative called Our Future is Digital, in order to help better qualifying youth for the labor market. The initiative aims at adding new training programs for youth willing to learn web design, programming, data analysis, and digital marketing. Also, the U.S. Coursera Corporation highlighted the high demand by Egyptian students to hone their technological skills, including software engineering, revealing around 1.64 million Egyptian students, including 83,000 university students, have applied for courses via the digital platforms. The state has established Shabab Balad Initiative, an Egyptian version of Generation Unlimited, which was launched at the World Youth Forum in Sharm el-Sheikh. Young people from about one-third of Egypt's population, which translates to the country's youth, is poised to ensure they have access to the right skills, training and opportunities for a bright future. The platform will focus on developing capabilities of Egyptian youth in the 4 priority areas, namely education, employability, entrepreneurship, and engagement. Egypt will support Shabab Balad's mission by providing training programs to develop these skills, offer career guidance to help young people navigate their careers, as well as share guidance to improve financial literacy and digital skills. The state continues its fruitful cooperation with UNICEF to provide the needed support in order to achieve social integration, social protection, youth empowerment, and support entrepreneurship in Egypt.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and continuing our discussion with Ms. Amin. Now, the state is allocating 1.1 billion Egyptian pounds for digital skills, youth empowerment. Now, You've mentioned the difficulties, for instance, entrepreneurs face when they start up their own business, whether it's the documentation, the bureaucratic sort of procedures, the financing, all of these things. So would you say that the financing is mainly, or the know-how is the main difficulty that would face the youth, or would you say that it's a cultural thing that you need to convince the youth that they would, or they are able to fulfill their dreams and meet the goals and aspirations that they have? Or is it about convincing the older generation of accepting the youth, taking the lead, and really conforming, at least, to their ideas and listening and giving their ideas and initiatives a chance?
It's a combination of all what you have said. We need to convince first the youth that the older generation is not the prisoner. They are our teachers in a way or another. And we have to start loving them to allow our mind to accept what they are giving us. And for the elders or the older generation, they have to accept that we are not the same. We grow up, like I had my Facebook account since I was like 11 or something. So how we communicate and how we talk, how we speak is totally different than how they communicated with each other back in the days. So it's a combination of both. We have to put hand in hand. Again, remember the story of the monkeys that my father told me. And for the finance, like the finance and documentation, most of us don't know how to do it. When I was starting Happy Africa Egypt, I started it very easy in Africa. When I came to Egypt, I wanted to be legalized. I wanted to be authorized and under the umbrella of the government, under the eyes, so that I don't go to prison. So I faced really hard times. 2 lawyers called me until I found a good lawyer who is capable of doing it the right way, as I wanted. I don't want other girls in my age or guys or whatever, like people in my age, to face what I faced, because not all of them are as stubborn as I am. Maybe they lose hope easily, which is, it's their rights. Not all of us are having the same mentality of keep trying. Financing projects is the second step after educating the youth how to start a project, how to write the papers, how to submit them, to whom we should go when we face a problem. I think something else the government should look at is asking via the social media and get connected to the youth. Start bold, start asking them, what do you want? Let the youth express themselves freely. This is how we can connect easily with the government. Most of the youth I saw in the World Youth Forums are very, very educated. Not all of them are from other governorates. Most of them are from Egypt and from Cairo, Alexandria, Giza. This is the capitalization of Egypt. And allow them to travel more. My advice for the parents: allow your kids to suffer. Let them suffer. There's no shame in suffering. Let them be broken. Let them cry. Let them lose hope. And then when they understand or get the point of the lesson, support them again and again and again. No one is going to learn from not doing anything. People learn from their mistakes. Allow them to do mistakes.
Well, do you think that all this sort of preparation of the mentality of the youth and this education of all the procedures and the necessary requirements to follow a business or follow a project or follow a dream, should it start, do you think it should start from school? Should it be applied in training centers, vocational training for fresh graduates? When do you think, or is it just a trial and error, as you've mentioned? You step in, you succeed, or you fail, you win, or you lose, and this is how you learn?
It's supposed to start from an early age, but it's never too late. If we couldn't start when we were like on our 8th or 9th, we can start in our 20s. It's never too late.
Yes.
Just to start now. Start with what you have. You're not getting any younger.
Yes.
So just start now.
Okay, so now obviously the government is really focusing and doing a lot of effort, exerting a lot of effort to develop the youth and really giving them a leading role in driving the country forward, because youth are the future. So what do you want to see? I mean, out of your experience, starting off from an application online, taking you to a journey to different places around the world, what do you want to see more of done by the government and maybe even the private sector, and not just the public sector? What do you want to see more being done by the youth themselves, by the public sector, and the private sector as well?
Getting out of Cairo. Getting out of Cairo, Alexandria, and Giza.
The comfort zone.
The comfort zone. Go to Sinai, go to Delta, go to wherever outside of Cairo. We had enough, like, we're full. It's very easy for me to go to a training center. It's very easy for me to speak English. It's very easy for me to do a lot of stuff that people in other places in Egypt, but outside Cairo, Giza, and Alexandria, of course, are not capable of doing. And we have so much potential. And other thing, I want the generation itself to understand that, as we can say in Arabic, the government is not our daddy. The government can help us help ourselves.
Yes.
But she's not going to do the work for us. So one last advice for the youth who are watching us: read more. Our reading collectively dropped, like our reading rate collectively dropped down. And by reading you get to know without experiencing. You get to know the mistakes of others. You get to know lessons from others. Stay busy. I hate when I see people just walking around doing nothing. This drives me crazy. And go to therapy. We had enough. Go to therapy, people.
Yeah.
We all need to go to therapy and heal. And one last thing, love your country more. A lot of youth now say, I just want to travel, I want to go to Europe, I want to go to blah, blah, blah. No, if you couldn't get what you need from here, you will never, ever succeed in other place. Actually, people, my bosses and my teachers, when I traveled and started Happy Africa outside of Egypt, they said, like, I'm crazy. I asked them why, because they said because I had a successful career here. I didn't succeed because I traveled. I traveled because I succeed here.
Yes.
This is how, in my opinion, you do things.
Yes. Well, ladies and gentlemen, as you've just heard, there's a lot of work to be done for the youth development and empowerment here in Egypt. It's not just the government's responsibility, and it's not the private sector. It also the responsibility of self-education, reading more, experiencing different things from such an early age, getting out of your comfort zone, taking the risks. And you've heard it from someone who actually took the risk and made and followed her own dreams. But unfortunately, that's all the time we have for this edition of the Daily Debate. And before we go, I'd like to thank my distinguished guest, Ms. Sarah Amin, the journalist and writer and founder of the Happy Africa Foundation. Ms. Amin, thank you very much for joining us.
My pleasure.
Ladies and gentlemen, please stay tuned for more coming up on Nile International. I'm Hani Saif. Thank you for joining us.